is shifting all over the place. This is David Fisher, last flight of the day. Oh, that was very nice.
We still like you. Thank you, sir.
I need to figure out how to I need to figure out how to do that.
So just put them out there now?
They're trying to leave the airplane here for now, I think. Well, I don't know. I'll let Warren tell you.
Come on,
You go, young man. Congratulations.
Stay right there.
That's right. You're not going to move. Just
Start when we know.
senior. Go too far away. We're going to take a picture all together as well. The senior national champion, Tandy Garrison.
All right, Tommy.
Let's see your face, Dondy. All right. Ta-da.
Take your hat off. Take your hat off. No, take your hat off, because you can't see your face.
Can't see your face.
Take your hat off. No, right off.
You look here, please.
Last but certainly not least, our National Open champion and Jim Walker Trophy winner. I'm sure that David Fitzgerald didn't refinish this to give it to Paul Walker. Yeah, I mean, we don't need a trophy. We'll hold the trophy so these people can take the pictures, and then we'll set the trophy aside and you're going to give away.
Than it used to be.
No, you're just older.
We don't know. Oh, come on, man, right in the middle of my shot. Okay. Yeah. Come on, Kate.
I got a picture of your head. Blow it up and put it on your wall. You don't have to blow it up.
Are we doing a dance?
Oh, how about they put it on the
No. Warren, where's the advance guy?
That's a traveling trophy.
Now come see me! I can't get the damn thing open.
Shake it up, Warren!
Yeah, no thanks. I'm ignorant, but I'm not stupid. Hey! I can't get it open. That's what happens when you buy this high-dollar champagne.
$6 for that bottle. Hey, just stand there like that when we get your picture, Warren. That's 3 seconds slow there.
My wife will tell you that doesn't have anything to do at all with reality. Oh, the hell with it! Our national champion, Paul Walker.
Hit him with the bottle, launch him.
Get it, Paul!
Well, it must really be. last one
champions.
for 4 years.
And then we get a top 5 picture of the finalists.
They put the table down and everybody holds their own hand.
It's really crap.
What did he say?
Really crap.
That's the way it tastes. In the middle, Dan. Oh, that's not a ball. No, that's not a ball.
It's Marvin Dennis.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Move the trophy.
I'm right here.
No, wait a second, I'm gonna move the trophy.
Can we also have the top 5 or the open finalists, please? David, Wendy,
Let's get these. Come on.
Billy, Ed.
I'm being attacked. I'm
elbow.
Look at it there. Yeah. Where's his tail? Here, hang on.
Thank you very much.
Who's this president?
A while back.
Yeah, this guy kind of
Let me get him back. We need to tighten this up quite a bit.
Hi. Hi. Okay, how are you? Just very calm and say hello.
Ted, we need you. There you go. Thank you.
Hang on.
How many of the 5 finalists would like to go a 4th
Wendy, look
round?
here. Double or nothing. Okay, everybody, eyes here. Thank you.
Sit, Ubu, sit.
Sit, Ken, sit.
Okay, here's out of film.
Stop moving around back there.
I get right out of here.
Head's going for the mileage side.
Now the win.
Come on, Andy.
Now the win.
Look here, Andy.
I have committed a huge screw up. I forgot the advanced national champion. Yeah. The story of my life. He's going to be there. Please stay here so he can take part in this thing as well. I can't tell you how sorry I am, because advance is as important as anybody else.
On the road to Keith.
Tad, don't hold it that way.
Next year you get your name on top.
Now that'll go for it.
Yeah, if you keep improving, next year you're on top.
Okay. That's that one.
Get that right. Y'all ain't
Hey. All right. You're famous now.
I'm famous.
Ted, we need to see your face. Thank you.
He just took that one.
I don't know. I had never seen one. I didn't know we had one.
Look here, look here.
Oh, Lord, where's the pole?
You went now?
Our national champion, John Sunderland.
John, after it breaks up, I want a picture of you with your trophy by yourself.
They just pass these down every year.
Welcome to Open, John.
Now working hard. Based on his scores, I think he can handle it.
There you go. Yeah. Leave that alone. Now just stand up and hold the plane. Stand up, hold the plane. Nose over your right shoulder. Okay, that's fine. Great. This might have been the best thing I've ever done. Great. Say cheese. Get a smile on your face. Come on. Cheese. There you go.
Good to see you again.
See you guys after
Last night.
Yeah, I was happy last night.
I
am.
All right, come on, John. You can never do this again. No matter if you get to be played up, you can't do it again. One chance. One shot. It's like a honeymoon. You only get to do it once. Advance. He's the advance champion. But you never get to fly again once you win. Eventually we'll run out of people. That's the way it works. You're 2880. There'll be no more advance people. What time is it, Doran? Pizza time!
My watch says it's pizza time.
All the superstars go for pizza!
This ain't Jersey.
The best part of the whole NATS. You bum. Well, it's time. We're all dressed up. Time to go to the awards banquet. And one of the highlights of any NATS, of course, is the awards banquet. We always have it, well, at this place right in the Ramada. You just walk over. Thanks to Doran for shooting the video today. I hope we got some good video, but whatever we had, that's all we could get under the conditions. And of course, special congratulations to Paul Walker, John Sunderland, Doran, and you guys all did well.
And they don't know things like this. I said to my girlfriend on the phone, I said,
No, and it was in for space. I was in spatial recovery team. With the ways to spatial as a bunch of nasty materials like nitrous oxide, method, death, all kind of combinations of that.
But I told him that's how
did you know, you know when they do the
Mean average temperature in a room right now is well over 140 degrees, and they brought in one fan. Somewhere up on the front thing is a fan. I can't see where it is. One fan. This is by far the hottest banquet of all time.
How many hours this time are you? Well, you're saying time is this. It's 26, you're 17.
I'm 5 minutes from you.
Right, so you're 6. You're 7 hours. You're 7 hours different from us in England. I'm supposed to leave Windy at 11 o'clock at night, our time, England time.
You guys are terrible.
So bad. By the way, there are 2 waitresses and Karen Vans, who is now on the official staff of the restaurant.
Put on future a wonderful time too. Hello, Mrs. Erdowski.
Hello, Karen. Welcome to Moldavia.
See you October 25th, Randy.
See,
Wendy and I have been getting in so much trouble. Where do I
see, if I would have joined the Communist Party, I would not have to eat this dog food. I could be eating with the comrades. Oh man, Doran. This is the guy that shot the video, the last 2 hours of tape. He needs a shave. He needs a woman. What a guy.
You can't give you your thing unless you sit down. What I'd like to do is to express all of our appreciation for the flyers to their wives, to their girlfriends, and to everybody that's supporting them. They're the people that support us. We don't do our things without it. We don't forget you. We'd like to take this opportunity to recognize each and every one of you. At this time, I'd like to recognize some of our guests. Again present, Ms. Joyce Hager is the Executive Director of AMA, and her mom. We have the Competitions Director, Steve Caleb, and his wife. And we'd like to say that Steve, some of you may not know, but Steve we've been working with Steve, and he's responsible for letting us fly this event with the lines that we all use. We thank you, Steve. It's been a wonderful opportunity to work with you, and believe me, this has been a situation that's been sticky, and Steve has helped us work. Now, we have some other individuals present who we all know. They're the F2V team, our international stunt team. They've earned the right to fly. We want them to fly this whole week, and there's no question that they're an extremely strong team. We'd like you to stand up. Billy, Paul, and who's that other guy? David. Representatives for the United States, we wish you the best. Do your best, and please come home safe.
Come home with a wife.
And Gandhi, my apologies. Gandhi is the junior member of the team. The rest of the team is the senior team. Okay, a couple of quick things. About this time, Mary Gephardt stands up somewhere in this time frame and says how well we've done. Well, unfortunately, Mary's not with us, but I have to tell you, we have done well in terms of Tampa products. At this Nationals, Mary and Bob Hazel have sold over $3,000 worth of products. Gentle Mary does so well for us all, and she's always under the surface and taking care of things, but she does an extraordinary job. Now, speaking of extraordinary things, several months ago, a request for donation of merchandise and items that could be raffled was started by Bob Hunt, and as usual, the supporters of Tampa and our suppliers and manufacturers contributed to that raffle. Well, the other night we had the raffle at the Tampa business meeting, and I would have to tell you that we collected $887 for that, and that would go to the support of the team. That's an extraordinary contribution. Bob, I know you're involved in your team, but you still spearheaded it, and it went extremely well. And there were a lot of good things. And I can't Now, there was a comment that's been running throughout the week as far as the selection of the changing Tampa headquarters. Gary McClellan and I went out and looked at all of the sample hotels that were candidates for this. Based on what we saw and the price differential, which was fairly high, we have chosen to retain the Ramada as the Tampa headquarters. However, some of the other hotels, if you want to talk to me later, I can tell you which ones they were, are extremely good, but they're a lot more pricey than what we have, and their format, physical layout, doesn't normally lend itself to the things that we want to do. So next year, Tampa will use this as the headquarters again. Now, let me get on to some of the better things. Every other year, we take the banquet as the opportunity to recognize our Hall of Fame members. These are the people who have contributed to Tampa so much over the years. And we've had with us many of the current members of the Hall of Fame. And since don't have the eyesight to go and look at all of them, I would ask them all to stand up at one time, and hopefully I can recognize who they are. I know we've got some, let's see, Bob Daly is one of them. I'm talking to current members of the Hall of Fame. Bob Hunt. Do we have any others? Bob Daly, yes. I knew I was going to miss one if I didn't have them all stand up.
He left anyway.
Huh? Where is he? He's out there. I thought I'd miss him, but I didn't want to misrecognize anybody. Now, the Hall of Fame goes through a very strict selection process. We have nominations. And the person that runs the selection process is Win Paul. Unfortunately, Win is not here. His wife is having some medical difficulties and he couldn't make it. But I wish to tell you, from having observed the process from the inside, it's an extraordinary process, and no one goes through the things that Win does without loving it. Believe me, this was a wonderful thing. Right now, I'd like to turn this over to one of the members of the selection committee, Bob Hunt, who's going to read some of the bios for you of some of the people that we're going to nominate tonight. Not nominate, we're going to induct tonight. Okay, I have to put on Eastie's glasses here. Yes, I think that's okay, the first inductee under the Pioneers Division is Tom Dix. Oh, how big in here? Bob Daly. First pioneer is Bob Daly. I'm going to read what Win had written here. He gave us a biography of each of these inductees. Robert Bob Daly, a competitor in the late 1940s and early 1950s from the Detroit, Michigan area. Bob won open stunt at the 1949 Nationals using a flat I-beam wing stunner with an all-flying tail. He is credited with the first use of the I-beam stunt wing. He credited his experience with full-size airplanes and steelwork as the inspiration for developing the I-beam stunt wing. He is thought to be the first to use the torsion bar landing gear, the all-flying tail, and the gooseneck vented tank. In 1952, he obtained his commercial pilot's license and became a prop duster, amassing over 18,000 hours. He is now retired and lives in Amarillo, Texas. Bob is going to receive his trophy. Bob Daly. The second member under the Pioneers Division
inductee tonight is J.C. Madman Hayes. One of the real pioneers in control line precision aerobatics, J.C. was a major influence in the Southern California area. Among other feats, he was the first to fly inverted. He developed the Madman, and the Dragon, which were outstanding stunt planes in the 1940s. He finished second in the 1947 Nationals and placed second again in 1948. A quote from flyer Bob regarding J.C. at the NATS is vintage Yates lore. Damn fool was even flying upside down with no effort at all. J.C. owned half interest in the Ulrich Engine Corporation and also produced the Y&O props, standing for Yates and Ulrich. His listed profession was a tool and die maker. J.C. Madman Yates. Now on to the veteran division. And we have two people here who we all know very well and love very dearly. And the first of these I'm going to read a fairly long bio, and it's from the first family of stunt sitting right here in front of me. And is it, when you have a number of Archies, is it Archies or Archie? I'm not sure. Whatever the answer is. Art Adamson. As the patriarch of the Adamson family, referred to by many in the stunt world as the first family of stunt, Bart Adamson was himself a stunt competitor for many years in the 1960s and 1970s. According to Dennis Adamson, quote, Dad was originally into Little Leagues, but then thought that he could spend more time with his family rather than with other kids by getting the family involved in model airplanes, which he had been building since the 1940s. And getting involved he did, encouraging coaching and motivating his family. Arch, 1960s and 1970s, including the Nationals. David, Nationals, 1965 through 1969. Allen, Nationals, 1974 through 1970 through 1974, with first and senior in 1973 and 1974. Dennis, Nationals and FAIs, 1965 through 1985, with first and junior in 1969, and the Walker Cup winner as a senior in 1972. And of course, one of the princesses of stunt, Marie, who worked tabulation at the Nationals and kept things in the proper perspective as she married the stunt flyer, Pete Bergstrom. And welcome back, Pete, by the way. Art also co-coached Art's sons, Archie III, who flew in the Nationals from 1986 to 1993, winning junior in 1998 and placing second 4 straight times in senior. Wherever you might find Big Art, you will also find his wife Betty, who has been right there for all the events. In fact, they were the co-event directors at the 1986 Nationals in Lake Charles, Louisiana. It is in the area of service to stunt that Art has made his presence known. And anything that Art is involved with, he will definitely make his presence known. A contest director since 1967 in the Detroit area, that's Keller, Michigan, Bud. He received a Life Achievement Award in 1991 from the Cloudbusters Club in Detroit, Michigan. The number of contests he has directed for stunt and many other events is lost in infinity. He was the United States FAI Team Trials Director in 1983, then was chosen as the event director for the FAI F2B World Championships held in the U.S. in 1984. He was again the event director for the FAI Team Trials in 1985 and 1987. Art was chosen as the chief judge for the 1994 FAI F2B World Championships in China and again for the 1996 Championships in Sweden. He will also serve as chief judge for the 1998 World Championships in Kiev, Russia. Long a supporter of Tampa, Art has conducted countless judging and flying clinics all over the United States and abroad, including Europe, Australia, and Africa. He has also served as the event director for the FAI Combat Team Trials. In addition to his contest administration, utilizing his experience as a tool and die maker with Cadillac for 32 years, Art has reworked hundreds of OS Max 35 engines, the engine of choice for the Adamson family, for stunt flyers all over the world. His Max 35 stunt engines have been the workhorse of many a successful stunt pilot. He has also worked with about every other kind of engine, including HP, Super Tigers, and on and on. In 1971, when the FAI rules required mufflers, he again called upon his machining skills and began making mufflers. Since then, he has made thousands of mufflers, selling them worldwide to individuals and distributors. Art Adamson's contributions to the stunt world have been his long and vessel service in the administration of local, regional, national, and international stunt contests, as well as directing countless stunt clinics throughout the United States. I give you Bart Adamson.
Come up here from there, Lord, please.
I know better than to do it, Art. Would you like to say a few words?
No.
Does he only have a few words?
You know, I look out here. I know what I want to say. First off, I have to thank all the panel members for the board. I have to thank John and Ann Gunn and Brent Jordan for putting my name in for this nomination. I love them all. I met those people about 5-6 years ago on the way to Tucson. Everybody was taking advantage of those people and selling them motors at high prices. I started helping. This is the end result. If you don't mind, would you mind if I introduce part of my family? My wife, Betty, who I chased many years ago until she caught me. My number one son, Archie, and his wife, Sally. Number one grandson and his lady friend, Lisa. Number two grandson, and Liz, his lady friend. Amy, who is wearing the ring of another family of stunts. The young man's name is Bob Daly. Bob Hunt called the princess. My daughter Amy and her husband Pete Burke. What happens when you get old?
It's my turn. I'll save everybody here. I know a lot of you in this room have for a long time.
I'm sorry.
This is a very special one.
Thank you. You know, I look out here and I see a lot of people with the hair my color. You hear people say, you play with toy airplanes? And when we started 35 years ago, I never would have believed it would have come to this. But there are some people in this room that were there when we came upon the scene. And I think I would like to recognize them also. A man who wrote a letter to my teenage son when he wrote him a letter, Mr. Bob Daly, answered him. A man who influenced the way we made our airplanes, Mr. Louis McFarland.
George Aldrich isn't here tonight, but he also had words of encouragement to tell us. He's become a very, very good friend. Mr. George Aldrich. Then there were a couple of captains that we met. One of them is standing right over here, our president right now, Mr. Frank McMillan. And Mr. Pete Closer. Thank you, Frank. And there's another man sitting out there who I saved for last because some of the words that he said, and some of you young people out there, I want you to listen to these words very, very carefully. He came home from a big contest and I said to him, what happened? He said, not to worry, I will beat him tomorrow, the next day, the next day, and the next day. Thank you, Billy Woolridge. At this time, I would like to call up here a young fellow, Kevin Stewart. Will you please come up here? It's going to take more than 1 minute, as you can tell. This is your junior national champion this year. I would like to relate a little bit of a story that happened the other day. I was talking to Charles Reeves when this young man walked up, and I said to Kevin, oh, Kevin, I want you to meet Mr. Charles Reeves. He fly stunt pretty good. You know what he said? I fly stunt pretty good. I just won junior. But the reason I called him up here was not for that. He said something to me. He looked me right in the eye, and I told his dad today I'd like to take him home. His dad said, no way. Anyway, he said to me, what does it take to become a Hall of Fame member? What does it take to become a Hall of Fame member? Kevin, I want you to look out at this crowd. This is what it takes. Doing what these people are doing. They're teaching, they're passing on what we do. They're passing it on to you. This is what it takes. Work at it and keep at it. Understand that? This is a young man who will, when you tell him something, he'll stop and look at you and say, I understand that. I think it'll work. I love you, brother. This year's match for me was wonderful because I seen a lot of people like him that were so good, and they're coming up. We have to keep passing this on and have to keep teaching. This is what it's all about, folks. I'm going to have to say something now that we've heard many times before, and you've heard me say it, and I can't help it. No, I'm going to do it, Shireen, I'm sorry. I was sitting in a pool with this young lady in Texas, in Seguin. We're looking out at the pool, and it was covered with pop cans, beer cans, and whatever, because it was so damn hot. And she said to me, Art, it's too bad the outside world can't see how well people from all different walks of life can get together and have such a good time simply because they have a common interest. God love you. This is what I see when I look out at you. And believe me when I tell you this, that I haven't thanked a certain person yet, but I'm going to thank her right now. Because I chased this young lady until she caught me and she married me 51 years ago. Without this lady's complete support, none of this would have been possible. None of it. She's my biggest booster. I call her a job talker. And if you ladies out there don't believe me, just sit next to her and listen to her talk. She'll tell you. She'll tell you what it's all about. She's been responsible for me going to Australia, to New Zealand, to South Africa, simply because she talked to the people from those countries. This is a job talker. This is also the lady that I call the wind under my wings, my wife Betty. Thank you all very, very much.
I have to put the Yankees glasses back on again here.
See, don't wear them.
Who said that?
Almost everybody did.
You know me well enough to use me like that?
Oh, you're Our next inductee in the Hall of Fame is a gentleman I first saw fly at my first stunt nationals in 1961. Larry Lindsay was the event director of that nationals and came to stay with our family who lived about 5 miles from the site. And I went down with Larry every day, and I was a gopher. I'd go for coffee, go for donuts, and run scores and so forth. And I got to watch a number of the legends of the top perform at their very best at that time, including Mr. Bob Daly over here with the Hall of Fame member, and one very young and intense raven-haired Billy Werwich. When you come here, you can raven-haired men. But the But the gentleman who won that Nationals was displaying a piece of innovation there that would go on to influence how we fly stunt to this day. It was the first really competitive big airplane flown at a Nationals that was flown by Mr. Lou McFarland. And I'm going to read Lou's bio right now, because he's our next inductee. Lou McFarland. Lou McFarland will always be remembered as the originator of the totally awesome Shark 45 stunt plane. When this big, 700 square inch, noisy, unmuffled KV-45 tricycle landing gear airplane hit the circles at the Nationals in the late 1950s, a new era in stunt began. Not only was the plane big, sleek, and imposing in flight, it could turn corners tighter than anything flying at the time. Lou led the charge to use bigger engines again after the Fox 35 had been the leader throughout most of the 1950s. He started out with the KV-45, then switched to the Vigo 45. Later on in the 1970s, he also used the reliable SD-46. Using the Shark, Lou won the Nationals in 1961 and the Walker Cup, and won the Open Division again in 1962. Then was on 2 World Championship teams, finishing individually 6th in 1964, 2nd in the team trials, and 3rd in 1966, 3rd in the team trials. In 14 Nationals appearances, starting in 1956, he earned 2 firsts, 1 second, 1 third, 3 fourths, 3 tenths, for top 10 finishes. He has flown in 6 FAI team trials with 1 second, 1 third, 1 fourth, 2 sevenths, and 1 eighth. The Shark is probably the first stunt plane to show adjustable lead-outs on the plans, which were carried in American Modeler, October 1961. Lou also had a 4-inch bell crank in the early Sharks, and this is written by Win Paul. I built around 8 or 9 Sharks. Oh no, excuse me, this is by Lou. I built around 8 or 9 Sharks. Can't remember exactly how many. 4 of the stunt planes designed have been kitted. The Ruffy by Sterling in 1956, the Shark by Jetco in 1961, the Dolphin by Jetco in 1963, and the Shark 15 by Jetco in 1964. The Shark will be coming out again soon, this time kitted by RSM of California. He flew on the U.S. Air Force modeling team in 2 Nationals, 1958 and 59. After discharge from the Air Force in 1959 and his return to Lexington, Kentucky, he opened up his first of 13, yes, count them, 13 hobby shops he has owned and operated. The first shop was known as Max. In 1964, he opened his third hobby shop with the new name of XL Models, a name which he has subsequently used in all his shops. He also operated his own mid-am distributors out of Lexington in the 1970s and 1980s. Keep in mind that during all this time, he was also a full-time registered pharmacist working at a succession of drugstores, VA hospitals, and other hospitals. His wife Donna and his sons Russ and Steve have always been big supporters of Lou's endeavors. Lou was instrumental in getting the city of Lexington, Kentucky to develop a 50-acre flying site in 1970, which was used jointly by Control Line, RC, and Free Flight. Lou has been a contest director since the late 1950s and has lost count of the number of contests he has promoted in CD, but an average is about 3 per year, counting Control Line, Radio Control, and Free Flight. Lou has had the following articles published in the magazines: The Ruffy in Model Airplane News, 1958, The Shark in American Modeler, October 1961, and yes, plans for a 35 Shark are in American Modeler, 1961, just ask Bob Whiteley. Two-view plan for 45 in Model Airplane News, June 1963, The Vega semi-scale in American Modeler, June 1962, The Dolphin, American Modeler, April 1965, a P-38 semi-scale stunner, American Modeler, September-October 1966, the Acromaster, which was a combination stunt and RC model, and American Aircraft Modeler, November 1974. In addition, Lou wrote 12 stunt columns in American Aircraft Modeler from February 1974 to March 1975. In the realm of full-size airplanes, he has owned and flown at one time or another 3 Piper Archers and a T-34, which is an Army Air Force Navy trainer. Lou McFarland has contributed to the stunt world in the form of classic design, the Shark, which endures to this day as a competitive plane. He was a 2-time national champion, a Walker Cup winner, and a 2-time World Championship team member. He had 4 of his designs kitted, and he has his designs published in the magazine. Easty, your glasses don't work too well. Sure. He has been a contest director for over 35 years and has been a hobby store owner and operator for over 30 years. I give you Lou McFarland.
I'm a competitor from where it goes, but I'm not going to try to beat Art tonight. Art, I'll repeat that for you. That I am a competitor, but I'm not going to try to beat Art tonight. Do you know what an optimist is? That's a 60-year-old man that takes a 30-year-old airplane to the Nationals and thinks he's going to win. Bob Daly, I believe his name, might be able to tell you this. You know, there's another kind of optimist. An optimist is a bald-headed man that carries 2 combs. I did have 2 with me. So seriously, I am honored and humbled, and instead of a relic, now I'll be a remembered relic. I think I mentioned this at the DSC, and it's exactly what Art was saying, only in less words. I guess I'm sounding like myself. You know, the Ruffy was the aftermath of a smoothie. But I bet you didn't really know, or many of you know, that the shark wasn't originally a shark. I wish George were here. I've told him, he just looks at me. But the first name for the shark was the humbler, and it's still inside the original shark. But seriously, I look around and I believe I can beat some of these little guys. So next year I'll look like people give. But what Art was really saying and what I'm saying, when you get through with all the flying, what you're going to have is the camaraderie, the friendship, and all those good things that happen along the way. And that's what we need to remember. Thank you very much. And
Lou is right. We need to recognize the people that contribute. And over the years, there's a name that many of us have probably forgotten, but some of us remember very well. We have an individual from the West Coast named Marley Presler. Marley Presler was very instrumental in many of the things that happened. For many years, he was the contributor of the Concourse Award. He developed the big props when the whole thing started, and under the surface, here was Arlie contributing. He's a past president. He was an event director at the Nationals, I believe, in 1982. At least twice. Okay. But he did it. Unfortunately, Arlie is not here, but we do have a plaque. And Dave, it's the top plaque on the right, if you'd show it. We're going to present this to Arlie. Perhaps we can get some of the West Coast people to take that to him and present it to him. But we do want you to know and be recognized at this banquet that Arlie was a significant contributor and is still a very, very fine individual. Thank you. We have somebody to recognize that is here. And he has been a friend of Stunt for many, many, many years. And the last time I talked to him, he said, well, Frank, I'm going out of business. And that was a sad time. Well, in the midst of going out of business, his primary concern was to take care of his people and make sure that his people and the competitors that he serviced were provided with his superior products and fuel for this Nationals. Well, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Doug Pathfinder. Well, and you've been a friend to Stunt for so long, and a contributor and a supporter. The list goes on and on and on. I want to give you the time to come up and say something to us, because I know that you're going to be backing out of the supplying business, and we're sorry to see that happen. But I'd certainly like to give you a chance to say a few words. I'm going to be entirely
Recording? First of all, thanks for 21 years of excellent camaraderie with you people through the business world and through the flying world, and just as good friends. It's true that we did get put out of business. But it's also true that we've got a replacement manufacturer. Starting after August 15th, we'll be able to order fuels again through us. They'll just be shipped from New Jersey. We have a plan to ship starting around the 1st of September. People who are well qualified to do the job, and I'll be still in there with other members, keeping an eye on it. The tank part of the business will go to John Godak, and he'll be picking up the machinery in September. We already have some of our machinery, so some of the tanks, I will be taking more tank orders, but John will be able to handle a lot of that stuff for you. And normally John puts stuff together. We're going to have some pretty great stuff. If you thought my tanks would go away, he makes it. It's been a long, hard run, but I'm not out of it. We found a way to keep all you people supplied. People not good to me, the least I could do was bend over backwards to find somebody to take my place. And actually, I'm just going to be administrator now. But I'll be flying, and I'll be building. Don't have to worry, Walker. I don't think my secret weapon will do the trick. Thank you for all you've done for my wife and myself with your friendship and your business over the years. And we hope to be with you and flying with you for many more years to come. This old bird ain't dead yet.
Well, it's that time of the evening where we're going to get to the competition awards. It seems like it's taken a long time, and if you'll bear with us, I know that a lot of people are particularly interested in this, and also interested in the wry humor of the next gentleman that's going to present these awards. And you can tell from the look I got how wry that is. Mr. Bortiard.
Talking about right, we're at the head table, we didn't get any damn rolls. He's back there, I don't know what they got.
Want to buy one?
They didn't get the rolls, they're going to make them look the lure. Okay, we started this thing out on Monday morning. And I'll start with the events that have been here just a little bit longer, but old-time stunt, and there are an awful lot of us in here, myself included, that remember when old-time stunt wasn't. So, I did in the toilet. Oh, well. We got fans. Yeah, there's a lot more buttons than there is roll.
Thank God for it.
Okay, getting started with old-time stunt. There were 21 entries this year. Lynn Paul volunteered to be contest director sometime back. And Lynn has things, and any of you who know Lynn, he is organized to the finest in the world. His wife had difficulty with some surgery and was in significant pain, and Lynn wisely decided that family comes first. So he stayed home, but he did forward all of his goodies and whatever here with Randy Hancock. He delivered them with several envelopes, and everything was in place and as it should be. Gene Martine and John Davis were the event directors, co-directors. Gene, could you come up so we can pass out some of the trophies? Well, over there where the trophies are. They're on the far right, I believe. Dave, aren't they? The old-time stunt trophies? Far right. You're the right. That's it. Guy works in prison all the time, and he takes everybody out. Huh? You got it. Okay, first of all, we had judges, Gene Mills, and there's that name again, Doug Tappender. Tabulators were Lila Lee, Mary Phillips, and Phelps. Well, I'm getting back because she's pulled away on a calculator, and
Why would you like Eastie Bliss?
Great choice.
they were, no, I've got my own, thanks, and you should probably invest in some as well, I think. That way I won't forget the wing over, for God's sakes. Anyway, that's this long, other story. Elaine Brookins was also a tabulator. Pit boss was Bob Robertshaw. Runner was Rachel Chase.
Getting to the awards. Starting at 5th place, Royal as in Lucky Pyatt.
I think it's by the fuse.
Seen airplane at No,
You can't possibly.
that's not high speed. That's good. Bob Whiteley, 4th place.
He probably wants a roll.
Bob was flying an airplane that came out of, I think Dennis Stewart's airplane, isn't it? Jameson came out of, yeah, it was it's a neat airplane. It's one of those that benefited from that rule where it was not actually published or kitted, but is a fine airplane. 3rd place, wait, whoa. Third place was Lou Roller. He took it home. Dean is okay. Lou Roller from Kansas left, as you all know. He's doing a lot of very nice work on the Silver Fox 4Es and some other units as well. Anybody that says he can't fly has got to really be full of hooey, because the man won 3rd place with a boxcar chief. And anybody that's won a boxcar chief, well, he did something really awesome. He left yesterday afternoon, and I wanted to give him his due. 2nd place, Roger Wildman. A really neat barnstormer, sand cast Fox, had wheel pants on it. He justified the wheel pants because, by God, the one he built in 1952 had wheel pants, so his has got wheel pants. Went in 1st place, another fellow, an old crony of McFarland's, Charlie Reeves, flying the stunt wagon. Yeah, tell me about that.
That was an old
pilot of the stunt wagon.
little paper set I built in 1948.
That's right. I heard about that. I talked to the sponsors for the Old Time Awards are Lou McFarland and Win Paul. Win Paul said that it took threats of all sorts of things to get McFarland to come up with the bread desired to make the trophy. Yeah, checks in the mail. Checks in the mail. And also, that takes care of the that part of the thing. But there is a Spirit of 52 award, which goes to that same barnstormer flown by Roger Wildman.
All right,
Roger. Yes, indeed. Well, you're going to have to sharpen up and get so you can do that without getting dizzy anymore. Neck brace. Okay. Best appearing airplane, a Yates Dragon by John Saunders. Is John here? Keep that in the back of your mind. That's 21 entries of all time. Next is classic stunt, and I'll defer the microphone to I should refer to him as the Rev, but it's the big Rev back there. The Grand Poobah of stunts. Rich Ashford.
Lila to present the trophies, because I'm not going to do the hugging and smooching thing.
Hey, Rick, I told you just talk to him and he'll do it. First off, I want y'all to understand that I'm not a public speaker. More of a barstool philosopher, but I'm not a public speaker. I don't need glasses, but I got notes. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was having knee surgery, and I wasn't going to be able to fly this year. I called Warren, I said, hey, look, have y'all found an ED for Classic yet? Because Larry Barrickman had to bow out. Warren says, no, would you like to do it? I said, well, I don't know, maybe click. He found the Warren button. So here I am. Let's see. First off, I want to thank the volunteers that helped us get Classic going. And that was my judges, Mike Scott and John DeTavio. And they both had to leave. Mike went to Washington and they're gone. And my runner, my walking lady, Dot Cook. Pit boss extraordinaire, Woody Midgley.
Hey, Woody!
Ladies that make it go. Lila Lee, Mary Phelps, and Elaine Brookins. Okay, now on the good stuff. We're going to hand out the toys. First off, I want to thank and recognize Randy Smith and Aero Products for sponsoring the trophies. In 5th place with a 5:04 on the comeback trail, Dave Cook. 4th place, flying that beautiful G-Bee, Jim Lee. That's one of the reasons I went ahead and volunteered to do this thing. Jim really needed and deserved a break. He did. Okay. In 3rd place, flying that Cavalier, one of those, the Alabama Aniston Flash, Tom Morris. Where's he at? I'll take it over. All right. In 2nd, I'm going to tell you what, it was a shootout. In 2nd place, flying that beautiful Oriental, Don McClay. And the winner in steel champagne. I think we're going to put a claiming rule on that airplane. He takes the Bob Palmer trophy home again, Bob Whiteley. Got one more trophy to hand out. It's the Concours Award. This thing is very, very secret, very, very sacred. And the winner of the Concours Award, flying that Hawker Hunter, Jack Sunderland. All right, the only thing I got left is after our expenses from Classic Stunt, we had enough money left over. We donated $75 to the FAI fund to distribute as needed.
Mike, because he actually said that he enjoyed the job so much he really wanted to do it next year, so...
Right.
Okay, stay tuned, I've had a job change.
You'll get away, I know that.
I think we both had to break.
Okay, next is, actually we're going to talk about 2 events. First, we're absolutely one at a time. But a few years back, a gentleman by the name of Alan Brickhouse decided that he wanted to run an event, beginner stunt. I think if I remember correctly, he can probably, I'm sure he can tell you a lot more accurately than I can. But in juniors, he had a beginner stunt, and I think it was Vincennes. Was it not the first crack? There's some little teeny kid flying over with both hands.
Wow.
He's coming a long way. But he'll get an award later, I know. Alan, come on up here and talk about beginner stunt. Tell us how you did.
Being a one-day event, we try to make sure that we get the kids and the beginners their trophies and their plaques and everything so they can go on home. There are some who are here this evening, some who are not. Some of the people that helped us this year, judges on one of our two circles. Again, we ran two circles, all the open beginners on one circle. On the other circle we ran junior and senior beginners. Bill Rich, Alan Galt, and Mark Overmeyer helped us on one of the two circles. And our other judges were Mike Stewart, Byron Barker, and Gary Haycheck. By the way, let all of you know, Byron Barker is recovering quite well from his heart attack that he had last year, and we're just very praised that he's still with us. Ken Grasser did our tabulation along with Jane Barker and Polly Baldwin skis. Les Akins did the pool test. We had quite a few people working pit bosses, and Greg Goumard and Jeff Kemp and Pat Starrett, the young Hancock gentleman, and Mrs. Goumard helped with that also. You people keep helping this event, and that's very, very important. To make another point, as you mentioned about Donnie Garrison, your junior winner this year was the junior-senior beginner winner last year, Kevin Stewart. So we're getting people in this, and they're going on. So help us out. We had 6 in junior, and if you're here, if you stand up as we would talk, 6th place, Sean Stewart. Sean? Not here. Not here, okay. Thomas Hardison, there he is. All right. King here this evening. This young lady I think is fine. Well, there she is. Brian Hancock was third, son of Mr. Hancock from Lexington, Randy, and Zach Starr is here this evening, son of Steve Starr, and Sean McAtee. Again, you're going to see so many father-son combinations. Dan McAtee helping Sean, and Sean did an extremely nice job. I think the open flyers are glad he did not move over to the other circle. We had 20 open flyers this year. 5th place was Jeff Kemp. Is he in here? Jeff Kemp.
Jeff cannot be here. He's not here.
4th place went to Mike McHenry. Robert Maxwell was 3rd. Paul Guthrie was 2nd. And Don Huff was 1st. Would like to let you know that Bob Howard from Texas, and also an unnamed person who doesn't want to be told, those two gentlemen have guaranteed our trophies for the next 3 years, so I do not have to worry about that at all. I didn't want to make any of the adults mad last Monday, but when I started to hand out the prizes, I let kids choose first. To see Sean McAtee, and also I would like to mention also Christina Saunders. I apologize, my dear. Would you stand up as our senior winner? But I let Sean and Christina choose first on the prizes, and being a teacher by trade, this is what I like to do. I like to help them. I think the adults were with us also. Would like to mention again, the trophies are taken for the next 3 years. If you've got something extra to hand out, or two that you'd like the kids to have, that's the first people I will let choose next year. We're again going to run 3 classes, senior, junior, and open beginner. And I'll let the kids choose first. And if anything you want to send it to me or bring it to the NATS, and so we can help kids. I do thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. We had another provisional event or unofficial event, and that was put together by Rich Peabody and Tom Morris, both of whom have escaped back to their homes. But John Sunderland is here, and he is going to tell us a little about what happened. Just to remind you, John Sunderland won an advanced stunt. He had to remind me today. So.
As you all know, this was our first year to run intermediate as an unofficial event, and it went extremely well.
Talk into the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Normally you don't have to get too close to one of these. Frank McMillan will attest to you just exactly what a wonderful thing was going on out in the grass circles this week. There were 9 circles with something going on constantly. On Monday, it looked even better than the 4 circles up where we're flying. And it was just a blessing to be out there. Special thanks to Rich Peabody, who got the ball rolling real early. He contacted us for judges starting back about January of this year. He sent flyers, ideas, what he expected to see from the judges, and we did a brief little thing. He also ran a very relaxed, even keel event that allowed these flyers to get up, get some practice beforehand, and just enjoy themselves that day. What we did was we had 19 entrants, which I thought was pretty good for a first-time event. What we did was 2 qualifying events. The best flight from those, we picked the top 10, and they got 2 more flights who also got the best count. And the winner got a free advanced entry for this year, paid for by Rich, and the monies that were collected. So his entry fee was paid, and which time this particular young man, who I'll mention further in a minute, was not going to stay. And some people got together, they kicked in the money to get him enough room and board to last the week, because he only intended to fly that one event. He called in to work and talked them into the rest of the week off and stayed. And not only did he stay, he managed to make the top 20 in advance, as well as many intermediate. Dorn Morelson, will you come on up here? John Bodak sponsored every single trophy that we put out this year. This was Dorn's trophy. He did a wonderful job, and he was just an absolute delight to be with all week. Special thanks goes out to John and Buzz Brodak for sponsoring this event, paid for the entire thing, and it was just wonderful that they could do that for us. So they hear that?
He's the guy that shot your Walker Fly-Off video too, so if you don't like the food, see Doran. Yay, Doran. He's a lot of fun.
The judges for this were none other than the Reverend Leonard Newman, Mike Palco, Kent Tysor, and myself, Brett Buck, and our chief head judge, Jim Renker. Also, Walt and Bert Brownell sat there all day long and tabulated and ran scores and did everything they could do to help us out. They did a wonderful job. A big hand for these folks. We had 2 special visitors who came to fly with us this year from England. Most of you have met them already. They are an absolute riot, and we are tickled to death to have them here.
No, they're not.
They weren't quite sure where they would stand at an American event, based on the fact that there's only about 20 or 30 of them in the entire country, in their homeland. John Benzing and Paul Wyndham, will you please stand up?
They're not that much fun to be do with
event was finished, it was quite
more
clear
rolls.
that they were qualified advanced flyers at the very least, and they showed themselves well there as well. John Benzing was second, Larry Pat Giles was third, Paul Winter was fourth, Keith Bryant was fifth, Al Knight, are you still here, Al?
No, it's gone.
Al Knight was sixth. Yvonne Lorenz from the Puerto Rican team was here, and he took seventh, as well as the entire Puerto Rican team. And I can't remember all their names. Some very nice fellas. They were great all week long. Jim Kirby, Bill Durr was ninth, and Vic Brandon pulled up the 10th place spot. A big round of applause for all these guys. Now, Doran's about just fresh out of the Air Force and going to college, and has shown himself to be doing extremely well. He had an unfortunate crack-up right at his practice flight prior to starting the event, and of course, none other than Wendy Urtnowski helped him get his plane back together so that he could win. Take a bow, Wendy. I hope that we can support this event to the same degree that we have thus far in years to come. You got to come out on that circle and stop playing around on Monday and see what you guys are doing. It was just absolutely wonderful. Frank came down there after an extremely stressful weekend and was grinning from ear to ear, going, I can't believe this stuff. And it was just really a neat thing. Thank you all. I know that that Rich Peabody will probably run this event again for us next year, and he did a commendable job. Thank you all very much.
Now there's an award that is a little bit out of the ordinary for our folks, but I would like to ask Steve Kano, would you come forward, please? He's the technical director for AMA, and let me tell you, this fellow coming down the road here, he makes the Nationals work. That is it. Although Brenda makes him look awfully.
Any of them in these categories automatically entered into the category championships. If they place 10th or better, they receive points. We're talking the official AMA event, the professionals and this type of thing. So any of them that place 10th or better get assigned points on the 10 through 1 scale, and if they achieve the most points in their specific category, then they are the category national champion. I think it was 2 years ago, there was a young person that started flying, and I have to say flying in a lot of events. There was a real comer and control line, without a doubt. And this year proved it to, she came out on top. And Crystal King, Landing with the control line events, and those weren't all the straight aim events. Now, your dad told me earlier, how many airplanes did you all bring down on the van? 62, 52? 52 airplanes. She flew racing, she flew speed, stunt, what else? Okay, combat, carrier business. Everything but carrier. So, Crystal, without a doubt, earned the title of category national champion. I think it's specifically neat that she's a junior as well. Congratulations.
It's an unbelievable deal. I watched a little. first place, the young lad that Art talked about so well before, Kevin Stewart. Was 496.67. And our representative on the F2B team, he had only 514 points. 993 for third place. Place. In beautiful airport. Johnny, this week is the soft-spoken person I've ever seen in my life.
Nothing to do to it, that's rookie.
I may be a first, but every time I say something as a first or an only, I get a letter clarifying it. The concourse winner with an airplane that was here last year. Last year, it was considered to be perfect. It wasn't quite perfect this year, but it still achieved enough votes to win the concourse award. Wendy Erdowski will receive.
Thank you.
Give his drawings, I think he'd have us in that flight, please.
You're right.
Okay, I'll open this up one time and see, is there anything I forgot that you can remember?
My name?
Yes, there are two, one card up here.
I did with it. I did with it.
They did say, yes.
It belongs to Wendy.
Probably won a motor home and went to Alaska and did very well. So we're going to the city. Okay,
I'm going to get one.
T-shirt.
Yeah, you can have it. I hope so. As soon as you get your Spitfire done. I got something in mind.
Regarding the ladies in the hospital with back surgery, we've got a card here for everybody to sign to say, get well quick.
If you'd like to sign a card for Bart Daly.
No matter how far you go away or where you go, it's always nice to come home to the fish. They're always happy to see me. And a very special thanks to Ollie Presler for, well, these are the awards that make my heart jump. I love having all of them. Ollie, thank you very much. And it's always good being back in the shop. Hey, I don't know, when I'm away from this place, I miss it. And I always can't wait to get home. Hey, thanks for joining us. I know if you missed the NATS, I hope these tapes help you share the experience. Please pass them to all your friends, and always remember, it's fun. Enjoy it. Especially while you're young like me. Enjoy every minute of it. Thanks for joining us. And a very special congratulations to Paul Walker. Really good flying. I know we'll see Dave Fitzgerald next year. He had a problem with glow plugs. I know we'll see him back stronger than ever. Good luck to the team in Kiev. Hey, and good luck to Dondi Garrison. And hey, we will see you soon on our next subscriber tapes. Next contest is going to be, hopefully, Philadelphia this weekend coming up. And boy, if there ever was a true saying, no matter how long you're away from home, or how much fun the trip is, boy is it ever always good to be home. Well, I just missed this old house the minute I'm away from it. I really feel exceptionally lucky. I have a plane that, even though it's 2 years old, has won the last 2 concourse awards. We look forward to some more time developing this little Brodak Cardinal, which kit will be available probably late this summer. We have some more things we're going to be trying on the what is now 3-year-old Spitfire, and even some more stuff to try on the 2-year-old guy. And of course, the final thing this winter, we'll be doing a full subscriber set of videos on the air. You can see the I-beamers up there already. Just waiting. Boy, I can't wait to finish it. More motors, more things, more mufflers, more wheels, more Cardinals, more Stragas. I'll tell you, the world of modeling, it's really something to look forward to. And hey, thanks again for joining us. It really has been a wonderful Nationals. Thank you to Warren T-Art, all the people that judged, all the people that make this happen, and thanks, of course, to John Brodak for all he's done for Control Line. We will be seeing you soon. On the ride home, we're already dreaming about super detailing and even raising this next model, the I-beamer, to even a higher level.